Saitama right now is on the precipice of being exposed to the world at large.
Exposed.
This is because the most important individuals in the world right now, the S-class heroes, are aware of Saitama's existence, and we're on pace for more S-class heroes to figure out who Saitama genuinely is. Essentially, an overwhelming monster of epic proportions that no one can compete with. Not even Goro, when he had assimilated the powers of God, could copy Saitama. So Saitama undisputed the number one at this point in time. However, this could be a dangerous play for the world at large. And to be quite frank, this is in some ways what Saitama did want. This right here could be a clear situation of be careful what you wish for. Because Saitama, in episode 4, season 1, what did he want? He wanted his name to be more well recognized because he had done so much for the world. He had saved so many lives, beaten so many monsters, had prevented so many natural disasters, had saved so many cats and trees, and no one had knew his name. He was a bald weirdo with a cape, and Speed of Sound Sonic told him, I don't know who the hell you are.
Take a good look at me. I'm the guy who's out being a hero for fun. I'm not a
Never
villain.
heard of you.
Because for him, Saitama was a part of the bald guy clique. He was a part of the skidhead troop.
Oh.
So moving forward, episode 5 onwards, Saitama joins the Hero Association clique, and from then on, what starts to happen? Slowly, little by little, people are starting to realize that there's something up with this bald dude. Why is he so disgustingly powerful? A cornucopia of individuals, from psychics to cyborgs to martial arts masters, even your average gamer knows who Saitama is. They know the truth. Even in extra content like A New Wind Blows, where Glasses, B-class hero, he sees the real deal. He knows what's up with Saitama. But as of late, in chapter 173, Sekingar, Sitch, and then multiple S-class heroes are starting to be aware of Saitama's greatness. Number one, of course, Flashy Flash. During the last arc, he saw it 1-for-1. He literally saw Saitama do the gnarliest things, and he is sitting there listening to Genos ramble on about Saitama's adventures through space and time, him going to Jupiter, fighting against Garo, sneezing off the face of Jupiter, X, Y, and Z and the other. All these crazy radical things. And after hearing Genos' speech, he starts to realize he's not too sure how much of that speech is true, but he's seen it. Then we have the calm, cool, collected, rational Zombie Man. Zombie Man would not believe someone like Genos off the rip. But what happened in prior chapters? Genius mentioned an individual who had his limiter removed, in the process gaining an infinite amount of power, but went bald. And this chapter 173, he remembers the words of Genius and starts to realize, okay, hold on. Is this the person he means? What does it mean to really have someone's quote limiter removed? And then finally, the next chapter, 174, of all people in the world of One Punch Man, I did not expect someone like a My Mask to say this about Saitama. He previously said the ideal hero. And then in 174, he literally envisioned Saitama in God Rays. The beauty of overwhelming power. He, a My Mask, the fusion of all BTS members, the definition of lookism. This guy who was so infatuated with himself that he would literally look in the mirror and he would relieve himself. This dude calls Saitama beautiful. That's a scary thing, because even though Genos is clearly infatuated with Saitama, but as though he's best boy, and of course we can appreciate that because it's wholesome, someone like a My Mask may not take this in a very wholesome way. Likely, probably, ideally, hopefully will, and maybe the folks that read the webcomic may know a thing or two about My Mask in the future. However, I think it's also clear that the manga has material, added material, extra material that is different and more pivotal for the One Punch Man story compared to the webcomic. And when an extreme narcissist like a My Mask is calling Saitama beautiful, then you can easily argue that a My Mask would see Saitama as peerless, as perfect, as God. G-O-D, all caps, all caps. And moving forward, we're starting to see now, as of late, that the hero association is not so squeaky clean. Even though Saitama may be the ideal hero, what he represents as being a part of this association is a more arguably twisted version of what a true hero should be. Even Tatsumaki, you can argue, or Blast, you can argue, are not the true representations of a hero. We see in this chapter One Punch Man 176, various demon class monsters are being held in captivity, probably to be experimented upon and that kind of stuff, so the information can be utilized in the future. The same thing that's probably happening with Neon after he lost to Drive Knight. And these were things that were harkened back to in chapter 100 of One Punch Man in the redrawn version of the Child Emperor versus Phoenix Man fight, where inside of the Phoenix space, Phoenix Man shows Child Emperor the atrocities of what the Hero Association are doing behind the scenes that people are not privy to. And then we even see this in a bonus chapter in chapter 40 of One Punch Man, where the lizard long-tongued monster that King, quote, defeated because the engine was just too devastating at the beginning of season 2 of One Punch Man the anime, that same monster is actually in a prisoner transport bus for monsters, taken away to a facility somewhere. And even though it's a, quote, prison for monsters, it seems to be a lot more nefarious than that, given the words of Phoenix Man in chapter 100. So there's a good case here to be made that even in the future, the actual Hero Association that was founded on the actions of Saitama, this association could meet its downfall, its end, at some point in the future, because what they're doing behind the scenes could be just too shocking, too jarring, and ultimately very far from what, quote, ideal heroes should be doing. It is the case here where there are smaller factions of strong individuals like military cats or martial artists, but for the most part, they don't compare at all to the Hero Association, and they could actually see their own demise because of the darkness within said association. The person who could be the bedrock for literally human civilization, at least mentally, since he quite literally has been their bedrock this entire time, but they never knew, could be Saitama. The same way folks started to view Superman in the movie, where he was some sort of god, they could view Saitama in the future in the same way, especially with other powerful individuals who are well recognized co-sign the idea that Saitama is truly one of a kind. This goes double if someone like King reveals that his exploits were actually Saitama's the entire time. Will that happen? For the memes, probably not. But is it possible? Yeah, in some ways it is possible. And if that's the case, and if that happens, then this could be a very scary thing for the world of One Punch Man. Because it's one thing to have Genos be super infatuated with Saitama. It's cute, it's ooh-woo, it's wholesome, best boy. And to be clear, this is not an Aiden Ross, Andrew Tate relationship. It's a whole nother thing when the entire world is treating Saitama like that. That is a dangerous play. And I don't think that Saitama will actually co-sign any of that and go down those routes and so on and so forth. But when the world is at risk of being, let's say, destroyed by a dragon or god level threat in the future, and there's no one to return to, folks will get desperate. Things could escalate in a very chaotic way at a very rapid pace. And ultimately speaking, you have to wonder, why is it that someone like God in One Punch Man, the great God, is attracted to this dimension, according to Sitch in 173, attracted to this dimension because of Saitama. Now, he doesn't know at this point in time, but when they show Saitama next to the text bubble that says, and I quote, "There might be something in our dimension that's summoning him, God, here. Obviously, we could go deeper, but there is a dangerous sort of worshipping path that could really start to appear for Saitama. A My Mask sees him as beautiful. Normal average day folks will probably feel the same way, if even more so than a My Mask, who is a very honed and powerful individual. The S-class heroes may not see him as such. They'll see him as, let's say, a fellow Blast, something of that sort. However, the average people may see him much, much more than that. So, ultimately speaking, things could get dangerous in the world of One Punch Man because of Saitama being exposed, and his ascension to potential godhood may not just be physical, but also influential, and as a result, because of him, dire situations across the world may start to take place that are not monster related, but human related. However, it is convenient that Saitama knows how to time travel by simply twerking. That right there does wonders if you want to kind of redo some major mistakes, even if that mistake was decided to become a hero in the first place. But another video, another day.
Okay.